everyone, Shroomraver here, and welcome back to the Nickname Academy. This is the series where I'm going to be taking every single Pokemon from Bulbasaur right the way through to Eternatus and give them all nicknames, and when future generations come out, I'm going to do them as well. Yes, indeed, we have made it, ladies and gents, to the penultimate Gen 3 episode of this series. Last time, we ended off with Armaldo, which means this time we're going to be kicking off a bumper episode of lots of nicknames with Feebas. Yes, indeed, Feebas is going to be nicknamed Shorty, and Feebas is actually nicknamed after my old pet fish. Feebas is known as the dim-witted, is called a dim-witted Pokemon in the decks, and Shorty was one of my goldfish, and he was certainly dim-witted because we came downstairs one morning when I was much younger. I had two goldfish, one was called Longy, one was called Shorty. Shorty was the short one. We weren't the best namers back then, I certainly wasn't, I was very young. Anyway, we came downstairs one day to find out that Shorty had drowned. Yes, I had a fish that drowned. Very strange, I know. Basically, the whole thing of it was, in the fishbowl we had one of those little ornamental castle things. There's like sort of, oh look, there's a diver, there's a castle. And Shorty managed to get itself stuck underneath the castle and did the fishy equivalent of drowning because it couldn't move, so the water couldn't flow over its gills, so it couldn't breathe, so my fish drowned. Definitely dim-witted. Apropos of nothing, Longy was our other fish and got a bit lonely, so we went to a fair and bought 5 little mini goldfish. They came back and brought a gill rot disease with them and started nipping at Longy, so then Longy caught the gill rot disease, so then they all died, so I think we just, instead of having a goldfish bowl in the kitchen where it was, we put a TV instead. Much better. First thing we watched on there was one of those stupid DVDs of an aquarium. Very fun. I'm getting way too back in my old history. Feebas is called Shorty. Now next up we have Milotic, the far better evolution, who is going to be called Goujon. Now the reason for this is that Milotic in the Pokédex is called the tender Pokemon, and Goujons are sort of long, thin strips, sometimes seen in chicken, that have breadcrumbs on them, also known as chicken tenders. So Goujons are also known as tenders. Milotic is the tender Pokemon, so it's going to be called Goujon. Now I need to scroll up to get to the next nickname, which I have on my screen right about now, and it is going to be Castform. Castform is going to be called Vivaldi, which is a nickname that originally I know that my friend Dolce has used this one as well, but I like calling it Vivaldi too. Very simple for this. Vivaldi, as the composer, wrote the music in his movements called the Four Seasons, and Castform changes with the weather, and it's known for like having control of the weather, and it's to do with seasons and stuff. I don't know, I like it called Vivaldi because it's to do with weather, seasons, it changes form. Castform's going to be called Vivaldi. Love it. After Castform we have Kecleon. Kecleon's going to be called Culture Club. Very simple reasoning for this, it's based off the band Culture Club. Led by, was it Boy George was Culture Club, I think? I think Boy George was Culture Club. Yes, it was. Certain of it. Anyway, one of their most famous songs is Calm Chameleon. And Kecleon is a chameleon. So there we go. Easy. Kecleon going to be called Culture Club. Up next we have Shuppet. And Shuppet is going to be called Spook Baltoy. And the reason it's going to be called Spook Baltoy is because I like to think of it as like Baltoy on Halloween. Or like a ghost version of Baltoy, because it to me does resemble Baltoy just with a sheet over its head, like it's dressing up as a bad ghost at Halloween, because it's got the sort of pointed head, it floats, it's got the same shape, and so yeah, that's why I like to think of Shuppet as Spook Baltoy. Shuppet of course evolves into Bannet, and Bannet is going to be called Illegal, because if something's illegal, you need to ban it. Very simple, one of the simplest nicknames I've ever come up with in my life. Bannet's going to be called Illegal. So moving on, the other pure ghosts, the sort of, again, the counterparts of Shuppet and Bannet, start off with Duskull, one of my favourite first form Pokemon. Duskull is going to be called Damien, which has a couple of different interesting level meanings here. It's basically based off Damien Hirst, the painter, who has a painting called Floating Skull, which is quite macabre. And that's exactly what Duskull is, it's basically a floating skull. Damien, of course, is a name that's associated with demonicness and demonry, and those aren't words that exist, but I've just made them up. And, you know, Duskull is a ghost type, so it kind of fits into that theme as well, but mostly it's based off of Damien Hirst and his painting Floating Skull, so Duskull is going to be Damien. Its evolution, Dusclops, is also going to have a regular person name, and that's going to be Scott. But this one is based off of comic books, very specifically X-Men. It's based off of Scott Summers, who is, of course, the undisguised alter ego of Cyclops, who has the laser beam shooting from his eyes in X-Men, and Dusclops, you know, it's only got one eye, it's kind of based off of Cyclops in one way or another, so Dusclops is going to be called Scott. Now Tropius is our next Pokemon, that's going to be called Neck, and I extend that because there are very specifically, I'm hoping to count this right, 4 Ks in the word Neck for Tropius, 3 extra Ks. Now the reason for this is because Tropius has bananas hanging around its neck, very specifically what look like 3 bananas. And bananas are a very good natural source of potassium. Potassium, who is an element, whose periodic table letter is K. So basically, there's extra potassium on Tropius's neck. So there's extra Ks on there as well. So it's neck with 3 extra Ks, and that's the name for Tropius. Oh, I do love it. But then we get into Chimecho, which is a very different method of nicknaming here. We've gone with OREAD, I think that's pronounced, O-R-E-A-D, OREAD. Now, OREAD is from Greek mythology, and was to do with nymphs, very specifically mountain nymphs. I believe OREAD's a type of nymphs that are mountain nymphs, and one of them was called Echo, anyway, and therefore it was cursed, Echo, to only repeat the last words spoken to her. And Chimecho, it's based off echoes and stuff like that, and it's kind of small and fairy-ish. It's not a fairy type, but it's kind of fairy-ish in its original design. So it's named after this nymph, Echo, and that's what Chimecho's going to be. And Chimecho's counterpart, again, I've been saying the word counterpart a lot, but there are a lot of those in Gen 3. We have Absol. Absol is going to be called Flint, and this is based off of Keith Flint, the former singer of Prodigy, before he died last year. But yeah, Absol is named after Keith Flint, lead singer of the Prodigy, and my favourite Prodigy song is Omen. And Absol is like, in the Pokédex, it's always mentioned how Absol is like an omen of bad luck, or at least it's misthought of as an omen of bad luck. So yeah, it's basically an omen, and Keith Flint was the singer who brought that song to the fore, so Absol is going to be called Flint. Now next up we have Wynaut. I'm going to check the time, lovely. Wynaut is going to be called Yo, but it's very specifically, it's not Y-O, this is a Y and a 0, because 0 is also referred to as naught, so it's Y-naught. That's literally its name, Y and naught is what we're going to be calling Wynaut. So next up we have Snorunt. Snorunt's going to be called Ghost, and it's another Game of Thrones reference here. Ghost was the name of Jon's direwolf. Jon Snow's direwolf was called Ghost, and he was given to him because Jon was not a true Stark, he was a bastard son. And Jon's direwolf was given to him because he was the runt of the litter. So effectively, he was the Snow Runt. Yeah? And we've got Snorunt. So there we go. Snorunt is going to be called Ghost. Okay. Evolving from Snorunt, or at least one of Snorunt's evolutions, certainly the only one in this generation, is Glalie. Now Glalie is going to be called Olay, because Olay, as you probably know, is a sort of cosmetics company, and among many other things they make anti-wrinkle cream. Now, you can use the anti-wrinkle cream to get rid of the wrinkles. Alternatively, there is supposedly, and I don't know if this is true, an old wives' tale, but supposedly, putting ice cubes on the face can tighten the skin for anti-wrinkles. So it's effectively doing the same kind of thing. And Glalie is the ice face Pokemon, so there we go, Glalie is going to be called Olay, because they effectively do the same job. Lovely. Moving on, we have Spheal. Spheal is going to be called Wilson. Very simple. Spheal is like a ball-shaped whale Pokemon, and Wilson is the volleyball, I think it was, in Castaway. Again, a movie I've never seen, but I know of it. It's sort of basically a round ball with a smiley face painted on it. I think it's blue. So effectively, Spheal is kind of the same thing, and that's why Spheal is going to be called Wilson. Spheal, of course, evolves into Celio, and Celio is going to be called Stargazer. Reason for this, stargazers, of course, people who gaze at the stars. And, you know, stars sort of split up into constellations. One of the constellations is called Leo, so if you're a stargazer, it would, you know, not be outside the realms of possibility that you would see Leo. So there we go. Celio is going to be called Stargazer. Final evolution of Celio is going to be Walrein, a very simple nickname here. It is literally called I am the Walrein, because Walrein is a walrus, and the Beatles had a song called I Am the Walrus. So Walrein is going to be I Am the Walrein. One of my favourite nicknames I've ever come up with, that one, and it's dumb. But hell, that's what we do sometimes. Continuing with our watery theme, next up we have Clampearl. Clampearl is going to be called Florida, and this is a bit of a personal story from when I went on holiday to Florida. We were, you know, up by sort of the coast area, and I went to Florida, and there was this kind of, I think it was like an aquarium, kind of sea life centre kind of deal vibe going on. And there was this kind of kids activity. I was quite young at the time, where you could go and you could fish around in this tank for oysters, and you break them open, and there might be pearls inside. And funnily enough, I did. I got a little pearl out of an oyster. I think I've still got it to this day somewhere at my old home. But yeah, it's a memory I have of oysters, like Clampearl being one, and getting a pearl out of one, to what Clampearl has. So Clampearl is going to be named after the place that happened to me, Florida. The first of Clampearl's two possible evolutions is going to be Huntail, and Huntail is going to be called Pub Crawl. I've been on many pub crawls in my days, I'm sure many of you watching at home have as well, but on pub crawls you're basically going from place to place looking for new drinks. And if ale is one of those drinks that you're looking for, you'd be hunting for ale, so it would be Hunt Ale. Huntail, Pub Crawl. Done. Next up, the other possible evolution of Clampearl, we have Gorbis, and Gorbis is going to be called the Itcher. And this is based off of... I can't believe I've forgotten to write down the name of the show. What's the show called? Oh my goodness, I should know this. It's that really, really weird one with Noel Fielding. Oh, this is embarrassing. I've forgotten to write down the name of the show. I'll come back to you with the name of the show. One sec. This is very, very unexpected. But I'm going to have to come back when I've looked up the nickname. I've got it! The Mighty Boosh! Yes, that's it! Ha! I've remembered. I can't believe I didn't write that down. We are a super professional channel here with super professional series. But yes, let's try that one again. Gorbis is going to be nicknamed the Itcher after the Mighty Boosh. Yes, because there's a weird character that Noel Fielding played. I mean, they're all the characters in the Mighty Boosh are weird. But this one in particular, I can't remember his name. It doesn't really matter. He's got this weird sort of like mint polo around the eye vibe going on and a big top hat. And he has a song called Eels, and his character is named the Itcher. That's what his name is. Of course it matters. This is a really professional part of it. Just Gorbis has been an absolute train wreck of a nickname thing. Basically, Gorbis is named the Itcher after the character, the Itcher, in The Mighty Boosh, played by Noel Fielding. And he has a song called Eels. It's a very strange song, and I'm not going to go into the lyrics because, you know, they're odd. Look it up if you want to. It's very strange. Don't look it up at night, you might not sleep. But basically, Gorbis is about as close to an eel as we've got. It's a long, thin, underwater creature. Kind of based off eels a little bit, and that's why Gorbis is going to be called the Itcher. So, the last Pokemon on the list, which hopefully I'll go through a lot more professionally than I just did, is going to be Relicanth. And Relicanth is going to be called Snapper. Now, Snappers are a fish species. One of the most well-known is the red snapper. But many of the snapper family species are what we call rockfish. Little fish that hide among rocks, essentially, on the seabed and in corals and stuff. And Relicanth is quite literally a rockfish. It's a fish that's a rock. It's a rock and water type. So yeah, Relicanth may be based on a coelacanth and not a snapper, but we are going to call it snapper because a lot of them are rockfish, and that's what Relicanth is. So, we stumbled over ourselves a bit there with Gorbis, but that is going to bring an end to this episode of the Nickname Academy. So thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed. Next video is going to be the last Gen 3 episode of the series. Then there might be a break as I try and get all my Gen 4 nicknames in order. I have just over 100 to go, and most of them are from Gen 4, so there might be a bit of a break before we get there. But that's a story for another time. Next time we're going to be kicking off with Love Disc for the last one of Gen 3. But as ever, remember to leave your nickname suggestions for the Pokemon we just covered in the comments, because I love reading your nickname suggestions to go along with mine. I love seeing how you guys think of all your nicknames as well. It brings me great joy to see what you come up with. And remember, every Pokemon deserves a nickname, so do make sure you give them one. But I'm getting out of here. I've rambled on for far too long, so my final thank you to you all for watching. And I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.